Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. In this video, I'm going to talk about what is SSO tax, right? So you might be or you might not have heard about this, right? And what this terms is basically. So I'm going to give you a bit context about it, what is SSO tax and how it works and how it is going to impact the organ-wide or company-wide capabilities of enabling SSO, right? As well as there are different capabilities of SSO. We all know about it. And if you are new to this, I'll explain that as well. So don't worry about it. And before that, I wanted to give you a bit of context about it. So the topic is all about what is SSO tax. So SSO tax is a term which is going to refer an additional cost as well as licensing fees, which is certain or which is imposed by certain software vendors or service providers, which is a part of their offerings for the SSO capabilities, right? And while SSO is also a part of critical features as well as improving the user experience and security within the enterprise environments, in the companies, in the businesses, in the business systems, right? And there are many different companies or product-based companies mainly, and those companies are choosing those capabilities to be monetized as a premium feature rather than including as a part of their standard offerings, right? So this is the SSO tax term I explained all about, right? And this is how all those product companies are becoming or making that specific feature as a special and premium feature and monetizing that on their product suites, right? So there are different product suites. If you are experienced in IT, or maybe if you're not in experience in IT, you would experience that after period of time, right? And you will learn those things like if I'm buying a particular product or tool, and if I wanted to bring on SSO with that particular tool, right? And how that tool is being enabled into SSO, I can do that. But even if the capability is not available in that system, then that is going to be difficult for us to bring, and that is not going to allow us to improve on user experience side and security side across the organization on enterprise environments, right? And now I'm going to give you a definition of what is SSO. So you might be aware about it, but still I'm going to give you on other words. So SSO is going to be authentication methods or authentication mechanism, which allows users to log in once and gain access to multiple systems or applications and services, be it a cloud service or be it in-house developed systems or softwares, right? And which prevents users to enter the credentials repeatedly or multiple times. And it is typically been implemented using different protocols, SAML, OpenID Connect, and OAuth, right? So these are the different protocols are being used with SSO. And the same protocols are also being used by the different products or different companies who owns the different products, right? And they are also providing those capabilities in those products, right? So this was the definition of the what is SSO. So this was the definition of SSO, right? And next we'll see what are the benefits of SSO, right? So there are a bunch of benefits why we should improve or why we should implement the SSO, right? So the first benefit is convenience, which is going to improve the user experience to log into the different systems, and users does not have to remember their passwords again and again to enter the credentials to log into those systems, right? The next is enhanced security, which reduces the password fatigues. Also, it encourages use of stronger passwords and centralized identity management. So by using that capability, by using the centralized identity management, it prevents users changing the passwords on multiple systems, and it also prevents the users changing passwords, and those may lead into the password fatigues, and then maybe there would be a password attacks or password breach, right? And all those kind of activities. The next is efficiency, right? So efficiency is going to minimize login related interruptions, boosting productivity, and also minimizes the user frustrations while logging into the systems, right? So these are the different uh, ways how users can improve on use on different applications, and it can also boost the user productivities. And the last benefit of this is going to be reduced IT costs. How it is going to reduce the costs? It is going to help users to fewer password reset requests as well as centralized user management, right? So we as an IT or IT people might have seen, and they are seeing and handling all those tasks regularly by setting up the resetting of the password requests, right? And they have the systems to manage user identities centralized. Is it? It could be Active Directory in the on-premises environment, or it could be Entra ID in the Microsoft cloud environment, right? So these were the benefits of SSO implementation. Next, we'll talk more about SSO tax, right? So SSO tax, it is criticizes the practice of charging extra for enabling SSO functionality, which many argue should be the basic features in the any of the enterprise grade software, right? And we all know that whatever the softwares are being used, be it a cloud-based system or maybe in-house developed or whatever the system we are using, that becomes a system which is going to be adding additional layer of cost when we are procuring that system, and which becomes to criticize the practice of charging additional cost for this SSO capability. And the provider of that capability for respective systems, it is considered as a premium and a monetized capability for them, right? And the next is SSO integrations using external identity providers. It could be Entra ID, Okta, or Google Workspace. So that is also possible. And if the system itself or the service provider itself are charging extra for the same, then definitely no one would like to be that payer of the cost, right? And then the advanced authentication protocols supporting SAML or OAuth capabilities, and then the user management features, which is going to be delegated access as well as user provisioning tools tied with SSO. So it could be user provisioning from one system to another, from let's say Entra ID to maybe uh, Jira, or maybe it could be with the Workday system, or it could be any other system, right? So these are the different capabilities that we can use. But even if the service provider themselves are charging additional cost on each of those capabilities, then definitely that is going to be a practice of charging additional cost to enable the SSO functionality, right? And there would be another question, right? So this is literally a question of this is, why does the SSO tax exist, right? So SSO tax is often justified by vendors the way they as they wanted to handle, or as they wanted to uh, cover development costs, or maybe it could be any additional cost that they are bearing for their products, right? So it includes building and maintaining SSO integrations, and supporting protocols like SAML or OpenID Connect can be resource intensive, where they don't have the in-house expertise and they need to get external expertise from market, and then they have to work on those SSO integrations as well as SSO development from scratch, right? And that is when they come up with the charging extra cost for SSO features or SSO capabilities, right? And this is really going to add the additional cost for customers as well as the people who are going to use their enterprise grade systems altogether, right? And this way people would not be able to understand, or maybe they would not be agree whether we should spend that money or we should not, right? And basis on that they can decide. The next would be tiered pricing models, where many vendors may reserve SSO for higher tier subscription plans to differentiate offerings and upsell premium features. For example, uh, any of the service provider that they have different plans, which includes basic, then medium plan. Medium could be maybe business or business plus plan, and then next or third plan would be enterprise or enterprise plus plan. So these are the different plans, and they are providing only uh, SSO capability with the enterprise plan, and which is going to be the costly than the other two plans, where basic and business plan, right? And these plans are the cheaper than the enterprise grade plan, where the service provider itself, they are considering and saying that we are offering this capability and this is a part of our premium features services, right? And that is why, and that is when they are going to charge additional cost on it. And the last is market positioning. Many vendors as well as the service providers in this case, right, say that SSO is an enterprise specific feature and building it with the other premium capabilities is the one that they think that we can monetize it and we can charge that capability with their product or with their licensing capabilities or licenses that they are providing for their customers, including basic or business and enterprise grade plans. So these were the three answers, or these were the three justified ways why SSO still exists, right? Next, we'll see the criticism of SSO tax, right? So there are three topics on the criticism, and maybe there would be many basis on the different products and different services, different suites, right? And different capabilities of the product or service providers, right? And the first is barrier to security, which is charging extra for SSO discourages smaller organizations from adopting the critical security features, capabilities, leaving them vulnerable for breaches. So this is really a criticism. This is really a stopping by feature or stopping by criticism on the SSO tax, right? The next is user frustration, which is without SSO, users must juggle multiple systems by entering the credentials and increasing the risk of weak passwords and poor security principles and practices, right? And where users tend to forget the passwords again and again, and they are going to reset their passwords and they are going to choose the easy to guess the passwords, and those passwords can be easily hacked or easily be put into the unwanted situations simply. And the next is market discontent, which says many considers that SSO is a standard feature and the additional cost is seen as exploiting a necessary capability for profits. Yep. So this is the last criticism, where it says that where many vendors and the providers of those services, they are saying that this is a standard feature, but there is an additional cost and they are exploiting the necessity of customers and users of the capability for their profits, right? And basis on that, they are charging additional cost on each of those capabilities. And now I wanted to give you a few examples, right? So those examples could be basis on different systems or tools or maybe a cloud service providers, right? So let's say there is a system called Atlassian, right? They have their products Jira, Confluence, and SSO is only available in their premium or enterprise plans, right? And if we say we wanted to get SSO in standard plans or maybe basic plan, maybe that feature is not available, right? And cost increase significantly compared to standard tiers when we wanted to switch from business or maybe or a basic plan to the premium or enterprise plans, right? So definitely cost is going to increase there. And the next example would be, let's say I wanted to use a Google Workspace, where Google Basic Edition does not support the integration of external identity providers like Okta, and I wanted to bring on SSO as well. So if I wanted to bring on SSO, then definitely they are going to, or they have different plans which has SSO enabled or which has SSO integrations with that plan. And if I wanted to choose that one, then definitely they're going to charge additional cost to it, right? So the next example I would wanted to give you is, let's say I have an application Slack, right? So Slack is a part of business as well as enterprise grade plans, and which costs more than the pro plans, right? So those are the plans where they have integrated their SSO plans or SSO integrations or SSO capabilities. And if I have the basic or pro plan, then definitely SSO is not going to be available for us, right? So these were the different examples that I wanted to give you so that you can understand how SSO tax is being used basis on different plans, basis on different capabilities, basis on different licenses and services that each vendor is providing, right? And there are few alternatives to avoid SSO tax, right? So those alternatives could be basis on the organizations or companies' needs and how we can avoid those as well, right? So the first would be to choose vendors that offer SSO by default with the current plans or current subscriptions, right? And there are some vendors includes SSO in all plans, and they are recognizing its importance and security capabilities for the customers, right? And they wanted to make sure they wanted to build a relationship with the customers, and that relationship can bring a lot of business for them. And they wanted to use that as an opportunity to improve their systems, improve their customer experience, improve their capabilities across the customer base, right? The next is open source solutions. There are different open source solutions which can be used, which is like Keylock or Keycloak or OAuth community editions to implement SSO without relying on paid features or paid capabilities, right? So this is open source solutions, and many of the IT few people or IT organizations or many of the technical community won't be agree, or maybe they would be disagree on this, but it depends on the use cases or requirements of the organizations basically. And the third is negotiate with vendors, right? So it totally depends on the customers or us how we are going to negotiate and how we can get the SSO as a part of the custom contract or current plan, right? Maybe we can customize the contract and get the different features on a certain price, and then that price is going to be maybe a particular duration period. Maybe if we sign a contract for 3 years, then that capability is going to be available for us for that particular duration, and then the customer or the service provider is going to charge us on that. And the next is adopt federated identity management solutions, right? So this is going to be use centralized identity management systems like Microsoft Entra ID, which is Azure AD, or Okta to standardize authentication across applications, right? So this is going to also help in a situation to use capabilities of SSO. But definitely, if the third-party system itself does not provide the SSO capability, then it is not going to help in all other third-party systems where we have a business or we are relying on those systems like Salesforce and maybe NetSuite or maybe Adobe. So these are the different systems, and these are the systems used across many organizations for different business use cases, right? It is not something no one uses that or no one can use that, right? So those are the systems are being really used for different use cases for different businesses or different companies, right? So towards the end of this video, I wanted to conclude with a few lines about SSO tax, right? And wanted to highlight something and to bring in, right? So SSO tax is going to be a debate highlights, and it is going to put some tension between vendors and business models and customers, right? And expectations for standard security features, while vendors often justify saying that charges as necessary for providing advanced functionality, as SSO being considered as advanced facility or advanced functionality. And the critics argues that access to secure authentication methods like SSO should be baseline offerings, right? And not as an upselling opportunity for those service providers, right? And organizations should carefully evaluate their needs and the associated cost when selecting software solutions to avoid overpaying for those essential features. So there are pros and cons, as well as there are different communities and different factors around this to criticize this. And now you might have understood, as well as now you might have got an idea why SSO tax is the term called for SSO, where the vendors or the companies are charging additional cost for SSOs, right? So yeah, that's all in this video. Hope you will like it. And please do like, share, and subscribe. Also watch other videos to get the insights on IT as well as different topics about Microsoft 365, Microsoft Azure, and FinOps. So stay tuned and thanks for watching. Bye for now.